Good morning. It's April 19th, 2022. This is To My Liberal Friends, and I'm John Haddo. Yesterday in this podcast, I opined that I think that at age 75, nobody should be running for federal office. That means Congress and the presidency. And I listed some of the members and their ages and the fact that there are 34 members of the House that are over 75 years old. Well, it was reported in the news yesterday that when Barack Obama was at the White House last week, Joe Biden told him that he intended to run again in 2024. Now think about that. Here we have somebody running for the White House to be the President of the United States who will be over the age of 80 and has shown serious signs that he lacks the mental acuity and the cognitive skills to do the job. Let's look at just some recent examples. The other day, he was on a stage and he turned around to shake somebody's hand who wasn't there, which he should have known nobody was there, and then he turned and looked the other way, spun around like, I'm lost. Where am I? Then at the Easter egg hunt, he, the President of the United States, Joe Biden, engaged reporters in a discussion of what was going on in Afghanistan. And immediately, a staffer dressed as the Easter Bunny pulled him away. A staffer had the audacity to pull the president away from speaking with reporters on a subject that he'd initiated. Who's in charge? Obviously, they don't trust the old man to do it. Well, a second fight is brewing on this age and term limitation things. Republicans have had term limits on their chairmanship and ranking members in both the House and Senate for many years. They limit them to 6 years as either the chairman or ranking member. And it varies, a little fine-tuning on both sides. The Republicans, feeling very bullish about their chances of recapturing the House, are talking about making that rule mandatory on both parties. Well, this has caused a lot of consternation in the Democratic Party. There's a division there. You have some young Democrats who want to move up, but they're stopped because the Democrats don't have a rule on term limiting chairman or ranking members. And there's another subset to this problem that I'm going to talk about, even though it's supposedly taboo. A lot of the chairman right now of House committees are members of the Black Caucus. They have that power, and they're not going to give it up willingly. They want to be the top Democrat on that committee. And that's a problem for the Democrats. But the younger members are pushing hard on this. You have some other older members that are not part of the Black Caucus also, and they don't want to give up their power either. No politician wants to give up the power they've achieved. But what it does is, through a backdoor approach, force term limitations on members. I remember when Buck McKeon became the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. His 6 years ended and he retired. He did not want to go back to being a backbencher. And that's been pretty consistent with a lot of Republicans. When their term limit on their chairmanship or ranking expires, they end up retiring. Democrats don't, because they keep that position. If they're in the majority, they're the chairman. If they're in the minority, they're the ranking member. But they're the top Democrat on the committee. And they have no intention of retiring. Hence, you have this aging geriatrics running the country and continuing to enforce their dogma on the rest of the party. And so how do you get around this problem? Well, Republicans have said, hey, it's been a rule in our caucus, we're going to make it a House rule. And Democrats don't know what to do. They don't like it, they're going to fight for it. But remember, Democrats took the unusual move of removing 2 Republican House members from their committees. They're on no committees because they didn't like some things they said. So they made that rule, and now they set the precedent of letting that happen, and they don't like when Republicans say, hey, we're going to pass that rule as well. Only you're not going to like our rule. You know, it really becomes a generational thing. And there are a lot of young Democrats that are probably going to applaud this quietly, but it's really going to be a problem for the Democrats to get this done because it splits their caucus in half. I think it's something that ought to be done. It limits power. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.